Blog Talk Radio. Today is Monday, August 20th, 2018, and this is FOXOLOGY. I am Silver Ray Fox, your host. Happy Be Blessed Monday to you, and I really do mean that. I hope you are having an absolutely grand day already. If not, there's still time to make the rest of your day the best of your day. I am so glad that you tuned in, though. It's going to be a really great show. I get to talk to a lot of people, and over the years I have, and I tell you, it's been very exciting for me and enjoyable getting to know them. There's just so many people that come from all walks of life for me to learn from and listen to, and from different paths and traveling on different journeys. We all are. And while I enjoy all of their stories and their personas and everything else they bring to the FOXOLOGY spotlight, I always appreciate the stories of triumph so much. Sometimes our strife and struggles are apparent, and sometimes not so much, but we keep doing life and smiling as much as we can and as often as we can. But very often, and I know a lot of us can attest to this, there's a battle going on. We're fighting to remain hopeful and strong and optimistic and courageous. And my guest today in my new segment, Interesting People, Places, and Things, is Donna Shepard, and she's someone that I met recently, and she's got quite a story to tell. But when I met her, when a person has a light, it shines, and hers did, and I could see it, and I asked her about it, and she told me in a short conversation her story in a nutshell, and I was inspired, and I wanted her to share some of it with my FOXOLOGY audience today. So you're going to hear all about Donna and what's gone on with her, and that inspiring part especially. She's a smart, savvy professional who came through a tragic relationship and lost hope for finding a beautiful one. But tell you, won't he do it? Won't he do it, Donna?
Yes, he will.
Welcome to FOXOLOGY.
Thanks so much, Silver Ray, for having me on today.
Well, I am really, really pleased and excited that you are here. I really do mean it. When I saw you, you were dressed so impeccably from head to toe. I mean, you really had that whole thing just really going on. And you walk with a lot of dignity and a lot of pride. And I always admire that when I see that in anyone, male or female. But there was something else. There was that sparkle in your eye and that sparkle in your smile, and that personality of yours just absolutely glows. And I just thought, I know that look. I know we all have a story when we're shining like that. So
that's right.
I just made it my intention. I made it my intention to chat with you a little bit, and I was truly, truly inspired by the things that you shared. So I want people to get to know you a little bit, and I'm still getting to know you, to be very honest about that. But I know that I did have the opportunity to read a very accomplished resume of yours, things you've done and things that you are doing now. So I'd like to start by sharing you with everybody, talking about your professional background. So why don't you tell us about it? Hit the highlights and then tell us what you're doing now.
I've been a trainer, an international trainer. I have to put this in there. I'm a mom, a parent, and I've also had the opportunity to lead many employees through leadership and development opportunities within one of the largest utilities in the Midwest. And then I stepped into the political realm and became a chief of staff, and have just blossomed since that. My new role is executive liaison for the city of Milwaukee to the state reps and senators for the state of Wisconsin. So that's new, but an exciting role in that I get to work for just not one senator, but for several, and the state reps as well. So I'm excited. I'm 3 months in, and looking forward to what I can learn and grow from in this experience at this particular time in my life. Now, that's
it's lovely having all. Yeah, it's lovely having all that representation that you're working for, but they certainly do have some great representation too in you. I just have to say that because I tell you, you want to, when you're working at those levels, you want somebody who can really make you look good as well. So I think they made the right choice in that, in choosing you, Donna. Was there anything additional you wanted to share? I want to ask you some things about your personal life. If anything you'd like to add to that?
No, nothing.
Okay, well, here's what I want to shift to. You were in an abusive relationship earlier in life, and why don't you tell us about when that all occurred? And then I have a few other follow-up questions I'd like to ask you. Where were you in life when that happened?
I was working and in school. It happened about 25 years ago, and I had decided to go back to school. And I was working and had my daughter. She was 2 years old at that time, and so I decided to go back to school and better myself because I figured now I got the little one and I need to really focus on providing for her. So I went back to school, and I was dating her dad at that time and really asking myself the questions most of us ask. What am I doing? Is this right? What do I really want? And then developing goals based on my questions to myself. And one of them was to get out of the relationship because it was not healthy. He didn't want me to leave the house. He didn't want me to be amongst people, my family. And then if he thought I was looking at someone, he would beat me. And this would be publicly and at my home. And so 25 years ago, I did not think I would make it out of that relationship and be here today. It was God who was able to lift me up out of that and then allow me to stay on this earth to figure it out.
Oh, that's a great way of putting it. How long did it last?
It was about 4 years. 4-year relationship.
Was the abuse constant?
No. It started my last month of pregnancy is when the first time he hit me and knocked me to the floor. And after that, I did all the appropriate things. I called the police. I told his family. I told my family what was going on. I moved away. He stalked me for the next 10 years of my life and my daughter. And I did the restraining orders. I did, everything. I did everything appropriate that I was supposed to do. And then
how did you finally get away?
Well, it just stopped. He met someone, and I say that she was good for him. He is married to her right now. She and I have a great relationship. They have a son, and I think he is a different and a better person today than he was with me 25 years ago. And that was God, too, because he became a member of a church and grew himself through Christ. And, I applaud anybody that can change. Now, am I still working through those moments? I absolutely am. But I'm a long way from where I used to be. And I pray to God every day to remove that because it stunts your growth. So while I was able to excel in my professional life, emotionally, personally, I couldn't move. I was stuck. And I think it was probably, a while after that before I decided, I'll take a step out there and see what's going on in life for real. But quickly moved back into that stuck position.
Yes. That was my next question. I was going to ask it, did you have a plan? And it sounds like you had a desire, but I don't know when you turned that into a plan, because you became quite successful career-wise. You are quite successful career-wise. So when did the light click, and when did you start putting the pieces of your self-esteem back together to know you could really do life on your own?
Well, this is interesting because I went to the library, I went to the bookstores, I bought everything that says self-esteem, rebuild yourself, know yourself, do yourself, forgive yourself, And I read those books. I went into counseling, but it took me a long time to, and I want to say 15 years, to really, really say to the right person, which is God, help me. Take this away from me. Show me the way. And I remember saying, I am going to help someone else. My grandmother used to always say, when you feel sorry and bad for yourself, go do something for somebody else. And I opened up my own coaching organization, and specifically to coach professional women who are facing the challenges that I had faced and felt like I was moving towards getting through, not getting over, but getting through and becoming a healthier Donna. And I did that. And when I reached out and heard some of the other stories, that was my blessing, because you never know what people have been through until they talk to you. And I began to take my therapy more seriously and really do the work on myself. I forgave myself for not forgiving myself. And people go, what do you mean by that? It wasn't your fault. It was not my fault. It was not my fault. But the fact that I allowed it put me in a place where I did the self-talk to hurt myself was the thing I needed to forgive myself for. And I did that, and I started praying and asking God to, remove that hate, because some things were done to me that caused me to have permanent damage, and I have to deal with those issues for the rest of my life. And I asked God, remove that. Give me the ability to forgive and to mean it. And he did. But I'll tell you what was amazing. I was working for the university, and we had to do some cuts. I was okay the first cut, but the second cut, I was cut. And I was not employed for 3 years. And that time period was probably the most time that I have spent working on Donna. And I did consulting to keep me going, But patience and trusting God is what I learned in those 3 years. You see, when we say we trust God, we have to trust him and let that go. Let him do what it is he does. And
that's for sure.
When I did that
is exactly right.
When I did that, Silver, that was it. It was like a light went on and stars just lit up in the sky for me. And I have not stronger and healthier and loving myself more than I do right now today. So, it's a lengthy story.
Yeah, this is an exciting story, and I do want to shift because I thank you, first of all, for sharing so much. I feel like there were just a ton of nuggets in the last 10, 12 minutes of what you just said, for inspiring women who may have faced similar circumstances or in those circumstances, it's one of the hardest things to do, to try to move forward even once you're out of it. And so I've had several women on who have shared stories, who have overcome those abuse issues, who are still, like you talked about, it takes a long time to get over it, past and healed and forgiving yourself and all of that. But it's absolutely inspiring what you just shared. I know that once you reach a certain point, and you shared this with me, that loving yourself meant that you were compelled to challenge yourself toward a weight loss. Tell us about that.
Well, when you're dealing with depression and emotions and things like that, oftentimes our weight is impacted by that. But part of healing yourself holistically is taking that real inside and outside look at yourself and say, hey, can I do better? Do I want to do better? And I did. I suffer from diabetes, and I wanted to be the best Donna that I can be. And I decided to begin to work out, which helps us mentally, helps us feel better. I learned more about food. I took a class in diabetes, a class about cooking for yourself, that whole thing, so I could understand. And it also shared things like what your feet look like if you don't take care of your diabetes, what can happen to your body. So seeing some of those gruesome, scary pictures really kind of scared me straight, as they say. But I was taking an enormous amount of medication, and I didn't want to do that anymore. I didn't want to survive off the medicine. I wanted to survive and thrive off of what God gave me and what nature put out, what he put in nature for us. And so at a job at the time that I lost the weight, that really kept the weight on me because of the stress. And so I asked God to change that situation, and he did in time. And immediately 2 weeks after I left, my blood pressure went normal. 2 months after that, my sugars I still had to work on them, but they were in line with a month or so of good exercise, good eating, where I could get them under control, but the weight was still there. And so I began to commit myself to taking care of myself, and that's part of loving yourself too. Taking care of myself. My doctor rearranged my medications. I was on 6. I'm on 2 medications right now. And I lost the first 3 months, I lost 40 pounds. And then I began to lose about 2 to 3 pounds every week after that. I am now at 80 pounds down, and I'm looking to lose another 40. Thank you so much. And that will take me to my goal of hopefully coming off the medicine. I'm a type 2 diabetic, so definitely we can manage through our meals and exercise if we get to a place where we are under great control. So that is the goal.
I'm just sitting here just smiling. I'm so excited for you, and we know you're going to get that done.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you said several times about loving yourself, and certainly that's most important, loving God, loving yourself, but somebody loves you now, and that was one of the things that I just got so excited about, because you told me in an earlier conversation the whole idea of relationship and love, you had put that on the shelf for a long time. So this kind of came out of, it was a wonderful surprise for you. So share that information.
Okay. Well, as you know, many of us who have gone to college have and have not have great friends. And my good friend was at homecoming and saw my now fiance, one of his best friends there, and he said, he's been looking for Donna. Gary's been looking for Donna, and where is she? And so she shared my phone number with him and gave it to him. Now, I haven't spoken to him in 36 7 years since school. We dated in school briefly, and we hadn't spoken, but I knew there was always something. I just love him. Always have, I believe, because there was just something special about him now, and I just got butterflies talking about him even now. So, he called me, and I was like, no kidding, So he had gotten married, had a daughter. I had a daughter, and he was divorced, had been divorced for quite some time. He said, I have been looking for you for 20 years. And I said, well, I've been right here, And so anyway, we decided to talk a little more, and I came to Florida for a visit. And it was just like, I don't know, like we just had taken a break, and now we were back together. I think most important in this story is that he found me. And God says, when a man findeth a good woman, he findeth a good thing. And for me as a woman who was ready to take the risk, but I just didn't know how to get back out there. I just didn't, because I had closed myself off for so long. He was God sent. He really is. I mean, he's what I need. He loves me. And I am able to love him back because I love me. And I can't tell you how important that is. I've got room for him now, because I love me. And he knows my entire story. He still wanted to marry me. And, he's my friend. He's my confidant. He's the love of my life. And, it's just amazing. I never would have told you 5 years ago that I'm going to be in love and get married. Ever. Never would have said that. And I'm just skipping to the altar.
Well, I'll say what I said in the beginning. Won't he do it?
Yes, he will. He did it. And when he does it, it can't be undone. Yes, he will.
I really do love it. And I'm just excited for the blessing and the bliss of it all, because after you go through all of that, it's certainly just you just know you really deserve to have that kind of happiness, that happily forever after kind of love. And one of the reasons I really wanted you to share that part in particular, you see how tickled I am. I want other women to feel encouraged. I also had said to you in an earlier conversation, you're doing this at 56. It doesn't matter if you're 56, 66, 76, 86. I've seen on social media people getting married older than that. So what would you say, Donna, to people, to women, to men and to women who may be feeling like you did when you just said, your exact words to me, I packed up that whole idea and put it on the shelf about falling in love. You said I put it on the shelf to be put away. It was just not on your mind. Right. You pursued your career interests and everything without really being too troubled or bothered by that idea. But I know there are many of us who have been in similar situations, the waiting period, and feeling. I mean, I've never put it on the shelf. I mean, I think I've I've been, I've dated and things like that. But to say what you just said about going to the altar and all of that, skipping to it, I think that's still a reality. Can be a reality for a lot of us. What would you say to us who are living in our latter stage of life and still hope to find a love like that?
I would say trust God. And if you don't have a relationship with him, build one and work on yourself. And ask God, because oftentimes we don't get what we want because we haven't asked God for it. And we don't get it sometimes because our motives are wrong. But make sure your mind is right and your motive is right, and you ask God. Now, we don't always get to ask and just sit down and wait. We have to do something to also help, and that part was me helping to heal myself, doing the work to make me the best Donna. Because why would God give me a man and I am broken? So I have to know that I need to be the best person that I can be, and then trust yourself. For so many years I did not trust my judgment, which was my fear, about being in a relationship. But trust yourself. When you've asked God and you've done the work, trust yourself to be ready to receive that. And when you're ready, you'll know it because God will let you know, because here he comes, But do the work and don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to get out here and say, I'm broken. I need some help. I need to talk to somebody. And often it is not your best friend. Often.
Most times probably
only
not.
Because they love us so much. They love us so much that they want the very best for us. So then that takes them to a place that's not always so supportive for you. So don't be afraid to step out and take care of yourself wherever that is, and that's what I would say to people, and men too. God speaks very about what a man is supposed to do, have, and where he's supposed to be in life to receive a woman. Make sure you're there.
Well, you said a mouthful, lady. I am not kidding. You gave out a lot in that spiel. I think you're absolutely right.
Yes.
You talked about the wrong motives. You talked about not being really ready, and to work on yourself, because that's critical, because you do want to present your best self to a man. You want to. You want him. You want to be lovable in every way. How else can he love you, right, if you're not lovable? So I think that's phenomenal. Well, I want to thank you so much for all of what you have shared today. I knew this was going to be a very exciting conversation. You and that light that's shining, you just keep on shedding it on people, because I tell you, it really shows. You've got one of the brightest smiles and sparkles in your eyes, and I just wish you so much more happiness and bliss in life. Thank you for taking the time to share so personally what your life has been like. We sure high five everything that you've got going forward, your career, your marriage, and all of that joy. Yes. So you keep enjoying yourself. Thank you again for being here today.
Thank you so much, Silver Fox, for having me on the show.
Well,
I will let you know when I'm done with those 40 pounds.
All right. Well, you know what? It'll be time for an update. So we'll do that, too.
All right.
All right. Thank you so much. You enjoy the rest of your day. Oh,
you also.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Mm-hmm. Well, I want to thank all of you for tuning in today. As I told you, I just love hearing people's stories, and I tell you, that was quite interesting, exciting, and love those triumphant, happily forever endings to things that we have gone through, and then all of a sudden just that joy shows up and it just flipped the script. And I tell you, like Donna said, though, you just got to keep believing God, keep staying optimistic, and knowing that what you may think is impossible, he can make possible. Well, please tell your friends about FOXOLOGY. I'm here most every Monday, and when I'm not, I'll usually put up some other clips from other podcasts. But I'd love it if you'd share it. I'm always talking about some empowering, informative, exciting, enlightening things. You know that if you've been with me for a while, and I've been here for a while, so please share. You have yourself a grand day, as I said in the beginning. If you're not there yet, you still have time to make the rest of the day the best of your day. You enjoy yourself. Be good. Be blessed. Be awesome.